Board of School Trustees. As we begin this evening, I'd like to welcome all of those in attendance, and I'll recognize our trustee, Mr. Mike Massey, for our pledge and our invocation. Mr. Massey.
Thank you. Let's pray. Lord, once again tonight we come to you, just like the hymn says, we need you. We need you every minute of every day. Lord, we come to you and ask you for guidance tonight as we make decisions that will affect our county, our young people, and our education system in this county. Lord, we just ask that you give us the guidance that we need as we make these decisions, and the courage to make the one that we feel is the right decision. Lord, we just ask all these things in your name. Amen. Attention, salute, say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Petty, do we have confirmation of notice to the media? Thank you, ma'am. The first action item on the agenda this evening is approval of the agenda. You have it in front of you, and what is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Hart, second from Ms. Wilkes. Ms. Petty, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hart?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wilkes? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Hammond?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jeter?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Massey?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Morris?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lindsay?
Yes, ma'am.
And Dr. Ross?
Yes, ma'am.
The motion is approved.
Thank you. The item approval of addendum, there is no addendum needed for this evening, so that needs to be recorded. Dr. Roach, I'm going to recognize you and just let board members know that Dr. Roach is going to go over some of the information, some of which we've heard before, and he also has heard the questions that we've submitted to him based on information we've received from the public and from the public forum. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to present some information to us at this time.
A summary of the information over the last couple of weeks. On February 26th of this year, I presented the following information to the Union County School Board in our regular call meeting. MBCOM was hired to conduct a facility study of all Union County schools during the 16-17 school year. May 12th, MBCOM presented their results to the administration and the school board during the work session. During this presentation, MBCOM gave an overall analysis, major concerns, and recommendations for each school. Some concerns that were noted during this presentation were for Lockhart School. Their overall analysis was while the facility is fully functional today, improving the existing structure would prove to be cost prohibitive. Major concerns would be school has surpassed its life expectancy. Long-term plans should be made in the event of major maintenance issues. Lockhart School's infrastructure is too old and costly to renovate. In May 2017, during the first reading of the 2017-18 budget presentation, information was presented about what the per pupil amount was for all the schools in the district. The per pupil spending out of the general fund budget was almost double for Lockhart School as compared to other elementary schools. Due to the concerns raised in the facility study and the discrepancies documented in the 17-18 budget presentation, the administration began to look deeper into the operation of Lockhart School. The board was presented a handout titled Information Sheet 22618 that presented much of the data that was discovered during the research. The summary of the sheet is as follows. There are currently 36 faculty and staff members at Lockhart that could be placed in current vacancies around the district. The 1718 90-day average daily membership, which is an average of daily enrollments, and actual numbers at Lockhart are 147 for average daily membership and 150 actual enrollment. Those numbers are off due to actual enrollment fluctuating throughout the year. For instance, on the 91st day, the actual enrollment was 149, and January 31st, there were 147 students enrolled. There's a discrepancy between the district teacher-student ratio of 22:1 and the ratios at Lockhart. There's a total of 13 students who attend Lockhart instead of their home-based school, and there are also 13 students who live in either Chester or York who attend Lockhart School. A look at the average daily membership of Lockhart School over the last 10 years shows the enrollment has steadily declined over the last 5 years. Based on current data and trends in the population, the projected student enrollment at Lockhart School for K through 8 for the 2025-26 school year is 84 students. The average of Buffalo Elementary, Foster Park Elementary, and Monarch Elementary schools, including Jonesville Elementary Middle School, is 7,578. The total for Lockhart per student is 14,211, based upon audited 2016-17 numbers. That means we're spending on average 88% more at Lockhart per student than the other four schools. The board approved the following motion later on that night. Mr. Mark Ivey made a motion to allow the superintendent to use his authority to assign employment to employees currently assigned to Lockhart schools to ensure that none of the employees, with the exception of temporary contracts and letters of agreement, would lose their jobs for the 18-19 school year, and to also schedule a public forum at Lockhart to allow the board to consider the information presented and make a decision concerning the best plan of action for the 18-19 instructional year. Mr. Frank M. Hart seconded the motion. The vote was 9-0 in favor of the motion. On Tuesday, February 27, 2018, at 7:30 in the morning, I met with employees of Lockhart School to share with them what had been voted on at the board meeting the previous night and to answer any questions they might have. On Wednesday, February 28, 2018, Mr. Stribble, the Director of Human Resources, met individually with each employee to discuss their possible placement for the 18-19 school year. On Monday, March 5, 2018, the board held a public forum where parents, students, and elected officials were given the opportunity to speak to the board. Any other concerned community member also had the opportunity to voice their concerns in writing to the school board. At this meeting, the board approved the following motion. Ms. Jane Hammond made a motion to schedule a special call meeting to review the data received in order to formulate a plan regarding Lockhart School. Ms. B.J. McMorris seconded the motion. The vote was 7-1 in favor of the motion. The meeting was originally scheduled for Monday, March 12th at 6 o'clock in room 600 at Union County Career and Technical Center, and later changed the meeting to Sims Middle School. Several questions have been raised I'd like to address at this time. Transportation. It has been mentioned that the district will have to pay more for transporting students if Lockhart is closed. The state pays for normal bus routes, and the only time the district must pay is when routes deviate from the normal route. If Lockhart is closed, the new routes will be submitted to the state, and the state would therefore assume financial responsibility for those routes. Also, the state law states that no student can be on a bus for longer than 90 minutes. The Transportation Department has drawn possible routes and assures us that no new route would violate that law. Overcrowded classrooms. It's been mentioned that many classrooms in our schools in Union County are overcrowded. We have run the projected numbers for each grade at each school for the next year, and Foster Park Elementary School is the school most impacted. Our district adopted a 22-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio for the purpose of allocating teachers to the schools for this school year. The class caps for the state of South Carolina is 30 for kindergarten through 6th grade and 35 for 7th grade through 12th grade. We are well under this cap at all of our schools, even with the students from Lockhart going to those schools. A question has been asked about why this year is important in terms of employees. The TERRY plan ended this year, so there are more teachers who are leaving the system, and therefore we have spots for the teachers from Lockhart this year. Next year, there may not be as many vacancies, and therefore we would have two options. Keep more teachers than are required, or send the last hired home to accommodate for those teachers. A question has come up about where the savings is coming from. Human resources makes up the bulk of any budget, and Lockhart is no different. The salary and benefits of staff equals close to $1.8 million. The 36 staff members will be taking positions in the district that are currently vacant positions due to retirement, resignations, etc. Administration has researched, reviewed, and discussed all information with the Board of Trustees. We have earnestly sought to answer all questions posed from board members, employees, and community members. I've also reviewed board policies as part of my research and discovered the following. Policy DA states the quantity and quality of learning programs are directly dependent on the funding provided and the effective, efficient management of those funds. Therefore, achievement of the district's purposes can best be made through excellent fiscal management. As trustee of local, state, and federal funds allocated for use in public education, the board will be diligent in fulfilling its responsibility to see that these funds are used wisely. Policy DB deals with the annual budget and states that the superintendent will have overall responsibility for budget preparation. Policy DBD, dealing with budget priorities, states that needs of the district so that all segments of the district programs are treated equitably within the available resources. Considering the evidence presented and the state board policies presented, what is the pleasure of the board?
Questions for Dr. Roach? Comments?
I have a question.
Ms. Hannah?
You pretty much answered the questions that were presented the other night at the forum that I wanted to ask. I appreciate you doing that research. I guess my question is, based on all the information that has been shared with the trustees in the last few weeks, 3 or 4 months, over a period of time, all the different pieces that you mentioned, in order to help us meet to place the staff this year, like you said, the Terry program going out, this was sort of a particular year that it's important to address this, but based on the academic and the financial needs of our district, is it the recommendation of the administration that we do this?
I think in order for the requirements of board policy and the expectations of the administration to be met, and for us to be good stewards of taxpayers' money, I would say yes.
You've already worked out everything where all the teachers would be
Yes, sir.
reassigned.
Yes, sir.
No one would be losing a job unless it is retired personnel.
That's correct.
All the students will be able to be placed and there wouldn't be any problems overfilling the school.
That's correct.
Transportation would be, everything would be taken care of.
Yes, sir.
Already said,
Yes, sir.
know that you have.
Mr. Hart?
Some of the funds here, I realize what you say, that we're really short on computers and technology programs. Would this be some available funds to come in and move that program forward and to do some work on our reading and math work to research the work and move those programs forward in that direction?
Yes, sir. The board approved this year the 5-year technology plan, and so we will move forward with that plan. And as far as I think Dr. Hall was very clear our last board meeting that she set the challenge for the administration to meet the needs in our schools for reading to help ensure the instructional programs are where they needed to be.
Thank you.
Mr. Massey?
So the money will help to help us with the 5-year plan. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
It'll be going directly back to our instruction.
Yes, sir.
And other needs that we need. And I guess the other thing, and you and I have talked, emailed, corresponded, and I've sent you questions from the public that have asked me. So you feel like every possible option now in this book that has been presented?
That's correct. Yes, sir. Even this morning, the one about the community schools, I even had Mr. Lawson do a little bit of research. Of course, we didn't spend an exorbitant amount of time, but we did research that, and it appears to be a supplemental, not a program that would be able to handle the entire school. Also has matching funds attached to it, so there's a lot of, anytime federal money is attached, there's always a lot of restrictions.
Mr. Massey?
Out-of-district students, will it affect them, say Foster Park on Arkansasville? will they have to go to where the district or if they continue to go with the school they go to now?
One thing we do, and this is every school district, every year you assess the space that you have. Every year out-of-district students request to come back to your district. If space is available, then they can come to your school, and so we would do the same this year. If space is available, we would permit those students to come.
Ms. Hannah?
Dr. Roach just clarified for me, I think I'm correct. You've been with us about a year and a half, but I think in the past, because we are in the upstate, but we're a smaller, higher poverty county, based on our student enrollment, I believe in the last 20 years, we've lost between 1,000 and 1,200 children, which is approximately 20%. Is that accurate? Through declining student enrollment.
In 1996, we had 5,193 students. This year, we have 3,871.
So more than 20%.
Ms. Wilkes?
That's right. I know that the town of Lockhart has gotten the grants recently.
Yes,
to update the services. Does that in any way have any bearing on the cost of updating the service?
No, that's actually the sewage piece that is being replaced. So that would have no bearing on if you were to update the facility.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir, Mr. Jeter.
in consideration of the information that we received tonight, as well as the information that we received and discussed on our facility plan on the 27th of November, 2017. The constant census trend of the school enrollment declining, operational and capital improvement costs, the savings, I make the motion that as of the last day of school 2018, the last day of elementary and middle school at Walker.
I have a motion for Mr. Jeter. Is there a second? Second. A second for Ms. McMorris. Are there other questions or discussion? Seeing no indication, I'm going to ask Ms. Petty to call the roll. Ms. Petty?
Mr. Jeter?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McMorris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hart?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Massey?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Wilkes? Ms. Petty, after a lot of prayerful consideration and a heavy heart, I feel led to vote. Mr. Lindsey?
Yes, ma'am.
And Dr. Ross?
Yes, ma'am.
The motion is approved.
There is no further business to come before the board, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion for Mr. Hart,
Second.
second for Mr. Ivy. Ms. Betty, would you call the roll?
Mr. Hart?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jeter? Mr. Massey?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. McMorris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wilkes?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lindsey?
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Ross?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion is approved. 6:18.
Thank you. Adjournment at 6:18.